All right. Welcome, everyone. Good morning to everyone who is currently in Chile, and a very good afternoon to all those who are joining us from Germany. Thank you for joining us today for this seminar, which marks the second event in the Chilean-German lithium partnership established between both countries to enhance collaboration across the lithium value chain. I'd like to cordially welcome the authorities that are present today: José Miguel Benavente, the Executive Vice President of Corfo, the Chilean Economic Development Agency, and Ms. Elke Rademan Paul, Head of the Unit of Mineral Resources, Circular Economy, and Supervision of VGR at the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy of Germany. This event is organized by Corfo and BMWE with support from the Chilean Embassy in Germany and VGR, which is the Federal Institute for Geosciences and Natural Resources in Germany. The Lithium Partnership, signed last year during President Gabriel Borik's visit to Germany, seeks to promote applied research and innovation under ESG standards throughout the lithium value chain, lithium extraction, processing, and its industrial applications. It also recognizes the importance of the private sector participation in promoting applied research and development within this sector, as well as the fundamental role of communication strategies in raising public awareness about the importance of lithium as a raw material in the energy transition. Within this framework, Corfo's call for specialized producers of lithium products with added value puts these principles into concrete action. So today's seminar is being streamed live in Corfo's YouTube. So to those of the audience, we invite you to ask questions through the chat, which will be read and answered by the Executive Vice President and Ms. Elk at the end of the presentation. Before the main presentation begins, I would like to open the floor to Ms. Elke Huerman Paul, who will introduce the Lithium Partnership and give some welcoming remarks for the event. So, Ms. Huerman, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Dear Mr. Benavente, dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to welcome you today on behalf of the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy to the second webinar of the German-Chilean Lithium Partnership. Raw materials policy is often at the center of current events. Critical and strategic raw materials are important for the energy transition and the transformation of our industry in Germany. In the current geopolitical situation, we must promote and deepen bilateral relations with partners that are important for our economy if we want to keep pace with our competitors. Our aim is to build resilient and sustainable value chains together with our partners. Both the former and the newly elected German government agree in their assessment that Germany needs to pursue an active raw materials policy, and the Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy is a key stakeholder for this crucial task. We remain committed to diversifying supply chains by supporting our companies in developing alternative raw material sources and processing facilities in other countries. We are focusing even more strongly on diversification and international cooperation. The German-Chilean Lithium Partnership plays a key role for us here. It is in our own strategic interest to also strengthen the local processing capacities, as desired by our partners such as Chile. Modern raw material policy must take greater account of people's interests and environmental protections in order to avoid the mistakes of the past. Germany is ready to make its experience in the field of environmentally friendly and sustainable technologies available for the extraction and processing of raw materials. Together with our partners, we want to build sustainable and resilient raw material supply chains so that both sides can benefit equally. And that is why I'm very pleased that we can demonstrate a particularly close form of cooperation and exchange with Chile on raw materials policies. We can already look back on many successful years of the German-Chilean partnership. During President Borik's visit to Berlin last year, a new chapter in our partnership was opened. Corfo and our ministry agreed to focus their future cooperation even more strongly on collaboration in lithium extraction and processing. For about a year now, we have been working intensively on the implementation of this lithium partnership. We have already been able to organize a webinar on German funding opportunities in the raw materials sector, with presentations on instruments such as the United Loan Guarantees or our new raw material fund. A couple of weeks ago, we have also been able to celebrate another milestone in our partnership with the founding of the Bridge Research Institute. Today's webinar is dedicated to another very important topic, the current tender for specialized producers of lithium products. I look forward to the exchange and thank you for the opportunity for our companies to learn firsthand about the upcoming investment opportunities in the Chilean lithium sector. And now I hand over to Mr. Benavente. Thank you.
Hallo, good morning. Guten Abend. Grüß Gott. Servus. Willkommen. My Deutsch is nicht gut. So I switch into English. Well, welcome everyone to this presentation about the specialized product of Chile. And I will make a very short presentation about this international call. So I think you explain in more detail what it's about, and we'll be delighted if you are interested to participate in this. The presentation will be available for all of you. I mean, I'm going to skip some of the slides just because of the time issues. But anyway, if you need any further questions or demands, you can go directly with us through our links or some of the question and answer Q&A section that we could have just after this presentation. All right, so my name is José Miguel Benavente. I'm the Executive Vice President of Corfo. As an institution now, we are behind this goal of what is called specialized producers of lithium products with added value. So just to give you a further context about what we're doing related with this goal is what we design, and are now implementing what is called the National Lithium Strategy, which aims to the state, in the case of Chile, to support the entire lithium production cycle, starting from exploration until extraction to value added, based on the principle of virtuous public-private collaboration. Public-private collaboration not only domestic, but also with foreign firms. Why Chile? In the terms of lithium, is very important that probably you already know. Chile is the largest reserves in lithium in the world, with almost a third of the global total reserve, and 9.3 tons. And we have more than 30 years of experience producing high quality lithium compounds. Probably you already know. We are the largest producer of lithium coming from brines. The other way you can produce lithium is coming from rocks, which normally was Australia is producing, but the difference is normally the third of the cost of production when you produce from brines. So we have almost 30 years of experience producing from brines, and the only place we're producing lithium in Chile is from the Salar de Atacama, the Atacama Salt Flat, which is another part of the country in the desert. This is very interesting because despite the fact of the 30 years of experience, as you're very aware, you know, the increase of lithium prices have been in the last 5 years mainly, and we have some expectations that the demand of lithium will increase in the future, especially related with the development of electromobility. And also because nowadays in the switching, this is particularly the case for the Chilean situation, there's also a higher demand of energy storage, where batteries based on lithium will play a major role in the future. Why Chile? Chile, we think, is a very strategic partner. It's a very like-minded country, especially for the European ones. We have a political, economic stability. We have a very clear regulatory framework. We have free trade agreement with major global markets. As a anecdote, Chile is the country who have more free trade agreements in the world. We have around 35 free trade agreements, including the largest countries in the world. We have access to renewable energy and competitive cost. Probably you already know Chile has the highest radiation, the solar radiation in the north part of the country, and Chile has the highest factor plant in wind, almost average 70% in the Patagonia. So literally meaning that the marginal cost of production of renewable energy is probably the most competitive in the world. And moreover, since 5 years ago, we are stuck in what is called a carbon neutrality goal by 2050. So all what we're doing in green hydrogen, lithium, and other sectors are mainly focused to become to reach this goal of carbon neutrality. This is mainly what you already know. The projections of the market of lithium. We will see every single figure who is coming from every single specialized institution. They mainly say that in the long run there will be an increase in demand of the price of lithium in all the ways you measured. The other thing which is very important to know, Chile and China are the only countries who refine lithium. Okay, so most of the production, for example, countries like Australia, they go directly to China and it's refined there. Chile refines its own lithium, so we produce, several sub-products of lithium, which is very interesting and is done domestically. So why Corfo we're doing this? For several reasons. Who we are, first of all, we are the government agency responsible for promoting countries' economic development, especially productive development. So we are behind to development of current sectors and new sectors, and this is very important. So we are behind of promoting entrepreneurship, innovation, competitiveness, productive development in general, nationally and also locally. But it happens to be, which is a very unique situation, that also Corfo owns all the mining properties of the Salar de Atacama. By a long story, which is very complicated to explain, mainly lithium is the only mineral, in this case element, which cannot be delegated to the private sector, cannot be conceivable to the private sector to produce. So mainly we rent the Salar de Atacama to two firms, actually. One is Albemarle, which is North American owned, and the other one is SQM, which is a Chilean owned. Okay, and these two firms, they mainly produce in our behalf, meaning on the behalf of the whole Chileans. This is very, very important. And among the clauses of the contracts that we have with both firms, there's a figure called the specialized producer of lithium. This is the one which is mainly focused this goal. And one of the contracts expiring on 2030 with SQM, and the other one with Albemarle in 2043. The one we're going to speak today is the longest one until 2043 with Albemarle. And mainly what we are seeking with these specialized producers is mainly in order to have the interest of people to generate added value from the lithium through develop all the productive value chain to increase value here in Chile. That's the idea. I will explain later, but it's mainly have to be clear that this specialized producer figure is considered in the clauses of the contracts that we have Corfo with the two producers that are currently producing lithium in the Salar de Atacama. So the general objective about this goal is to select either from national or foreign companies that are already established or will be established. This is important idea and point. Someone that we call specialized producer. And mainly the idea of this specialized producer is that they can produce or to add value to the lithium products that are already produced by these two companies in Chile. What is the incentive to participate as a specialist producer? That you will receive is a guaranteed supply of lithium carbonate from, in this case, Albemarle, at a preferential price, literally in the door of your factory. So mainly the idea is that the supply will be guaranteed until 2043 of lithium. I will speak about the preferential price as well, about these linkages. And the idea is that you have to propose and implement an investment project that is making this call, and we're gonna tell you which is the criteria that we will use to select among all the applicants the one we can allocate it to become specialized producer in the case of the Albemarle contract. Okay. So the specific objectives or goals of this call is first to promote investment and encourage the generation of added value lithium products in Chile. In Chile, that's very important. Second one, to generate local capability through training and the development of value-added lithium products. And third, to encourage technological development and the use of brine-based minerals resources. This is what is behind the call. Okay, so let me go in some details. First, how much lithium can be you may have as granted from now or from the next year when we allocate this until 2043. So this is part of the clauses. Is mainly saying from the first year is 25% of the current production of Albemarle, 25%. Today, this roughly means near 10,000 tons of what we call carbonate of lithium equivalent. That's a normally way that the lithium industry measures this. And this will increase up to 15,000, almost 16,000 from up to year 5, and onwards will be exactly that. The good news that this supply, as already said, and this is part of the incentives, that this supply will be guaranteed until December 31st of 2043. And this is access what is called technical grade and battery grade lithium carbonate. So the quantity, this is related with the quantity. This is going to be the quantity. It's already set and is related with the current production of Albemarle. And it's a functional to the clauses that we have as Corfo, as owner of the Salar de Atacama, with this company, Albemarle. So what is the preferential price? In general terms, there's no subsidy implicit on the price. It's not that you're going to have access to a subsidized price. We create a rule, which is here the formula. We'll explain it very, very shortly. But I mean, just to have in mind that the incentives are not directly related with the price, it's more related with the security that you will have access to this amount of lithium for 20-something years. If you got it this specialized producer status. Okay, so mainly the preferential price, just to give you an idea, is in the last 6 months of the prices. It's very important to know that we as Corfo, we know every single transaction that Albemarle does with every single client worldwide of lithium. So we know, and the prices that they are implicit in the invoice are different, of course. So we have every single price. So mainly we took the 6 month and we listed this price from the highest to the lowest, okay? And then we consider the 20%, okay? The 20% lower and on the last 6 months, okay? This is what we call weighted average price, derived from the net sales of Albemarle, calculated based on the 20% of sale with the lowest unit price over the last 6 months. So we took the last all the prices of the last 6 months, we ordered from the top to the bottom in terms of, you know, the highest to the lowest, and then we took the 20%, okay? This is very important. And then we have to, in a certain way, to subtract, you know, what is the freight cost of metric ton, which is supported by Albemarle, and also the insurance. We take it, you know, the CIF. This is roughly how it's calculated. So if for example, just to give you an idea, if the prices in the past is increasing systematically, the preferential price will be slightly lower to the market price, the spot price. If the prices in the last 6 months is decreasing systematically, the price will be slightly average because it's 20% the lowest. Okay, this is very important. But the idea behind the preferential price is just to calculate a more stable price that you may have, that you in a certain way may negotiate with Albemarle. This is very important that this is a negotiation process with this as a ruling of the game, which is written in the contract. Having said that, alternatively, the selected specialized producer can agree a mechanism of a price scheme with themselves. Okay, so this is just give you a referential. This is preferential price, but afterwards, if you became a specialized producer, you can negotiate, by your own bilaterally with Albemarle this price. Okay, so this is of the quantity you already know is 25% of the production. We already have it in tons in the incoming from the first year until the fifth, and then the fifth onwards until 2023. And then you have the preferential price, which at the end of the day can negotiate it between yourselves and Albemarle. So who can apply to become specialized producer? Domestic and foreign entities established or to planning to be established in Chile that are interested in development value-added products based on lithium within the country. So the idea that the firms have to establish at some point, if not already, but to produce some products which add value from the lithium, but the production have to be in Chile. Okay. So the applicants must submit an investment project focused on the development of value-added lithium products within the country. Could be piece and parts of cathodes, cathodic material, or even battery components, or even up to batteries, for example. Probably, the demand of, battery for energy accumulation will be very strong in the future in Chile. That could be very of interest. Have to demonstrate technological, operational, and financial capabilities, and these capabilities may be complemented by a separate legal entity through an associated arrangement, meaning that you can make, joint ventures, licensing, etc. And if it's a foreign company selected as a specialized producer, it must complete its incorporation in the Chilean as a legal entity within 6 months. So you have to become a branch established here in Chile to become legally a Chilean, firm, despite the fact that the ownership can be from abroad. Okay. So requirements for application: first, minimum of 5 years of experience in production and marketing within the lithium value chain at any part of the chain. Of course, to have to demonstrate that you have financial capabilities, for example, international risk rating, BB+ or higher, and should be audited from financial statements. Technical capabilities, demonstrated capabilities. Applicants must demonstrate knowledge and technical skills within the lithium market. And in terms of investment project itself, the minimum investment should be around $2,000 per ton of lithium carbonate required. The production must be carried out exclusively within the Chilean territory, and the development and implementation should be here. What are the things that we're asking for the applications? In particular, they must specify first the investment amount, the expected investment amount, preliminary location, summary of the project, scheduled date of entry into operation, total plant capacity, products to be produced, expected sales volume and price, and lithium carbonate requirements. And in terms of the project formulation, it must include market analysis and projections, technical projects information, schedule of execution. We're aiming, for example, if we're closing up this call by the end of this year, so probably starting 2026 until 2043, which will be the how do you structure the financial side, description of the management team, and especially and very particular how much the value is added generated here in Chile. So, which are going to be the criteria that we're going to use to evaluate all the bidders? There are going to be 6 different dimensions, and the weights are on the right-hand side. But just to give you an idea, first, the bidder's experience and technical capabilities. Secondly, the structure, how you finance the project. Third, the formulation and evaluation of the investment project itself. This is very important, 20%, how much value is added by the proposal, the position of the product in the lithium value chain, and also the sustainability of the project and how credible this project will be in the long run. And the weights on the right-hand side, which adds 100%. So how we're going to do this is mainly we have a committee to evaluate. It's not only compounded by people and personnel from Corfo, which are expert on lithium and subproducts, but also with officials of other state administration agency, including the Minister of Mining and some of the offices which are more related with the mining sector. Secondly, the evaluation committee will prepare an official evaluation report for those admissible proposals. Third, we're going to select one of them based on this all the criteria, and then will be submitted to myself. We're supposed to be sign this, and we'll notify the results to all applicants and to Albemarle as well. Okay. So this is very important. Once we have defined the specialized producer, then Albemarle with the specialist producer have to sign up the contract, and which is called a supply contract, which shall set forth the following rights and obligations, among others. For example, Albemarle's obligation to sell lithium carbonate to the specialized producer at a preferential price, or the one who have agreed between the specialized producer and Albemarle. The special producer obligation to use the acquired lithium carbonate exclusively to produce value-added products in Chile. This is not lithium that you can take and export directly to your own, firms or other places around the world. The value have to add it here in Chile. The maximum annual allocated volume and the mechanics, for adjusting the percentage of lithium carbonate if applicable, terms of validity of the supply contract, the performance bonds required to ensure compliance with the obligation established, and Corfo's authority, we are going to supervise, this linkage through all this time until 2043. Because don't forget that this is included as part of the clauses that we have between Corfo and Albemarle until 2043. Okay. So finally, which is the timetable of the application process? This is already open since April 3rd. And then it's going to be question and ways for clarification closed on the September 1st at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then the applications closed by September 25th at 1 o'clock. All this time will be at Santiago, Chilean time, GMT -4. Okay. And any question or clarification plus the one you may have now, this is the email address and also the website. This is also in English, which we will answer this, before the September the 1st. So this is what we have, and hopefully have been very clear. So I don't know. I'm now moving back to you, to Rodrigo, just to see which are the questions that can be taken from the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President, for your presentation, and Ms. Elk for the introduction. To those watching us from the audience, I remind you that I invite you to ask your questions through the chat of YouTube. We have a couple of questions that we can start with that have been asked through the chat. The first is regarding the category of specialized producer, and specifically if this can be granted to more than one applicant, or if there is a limit to the number of specialized producers that can be in this call.
That's a very interesting question. We are expecting, what is clear is the amount of lithium which is available. So, for example, if one of the firms who have the best, proposal in terms of all the criteria that we already defined, and they're asking, for example, for half of the quantity, the other half will be available for another one. Okay, so this is clear. So it is important to know that we already done this previously with the other contract, and as far as we know from the terms of economies of scale and economies of scope, most of the firms will tend to go to the total quantity. Okay, but anyway, just to make clear, if the first one, which is allocated in terms of the criteria, and is only asking for, say, half of it, the other half will be available for the second one.
Okay, thank you. We have a second question regarding a bit more information on the preferential price.
Yes.
Specifically, does the preferential price vary over time? If it is subject to changes over time? And if we have an estimate of how much lower is the preferential price compared to a market price?
No, this have to be calculated in terms of your own information that we have. But we have done some simulations, and normally will depend. There's a big increase of prices during 2022 or 2023. But if you average, despite that, what happened, a very peak. Today is around $10,000, the LCE. And so variations of that will be around 1 or 2% maximum up or down, depending on the evolution, the long run evolution. But this is important. What we have defined is, the preferential price is mainly to give more stability on the price in the last, the one you will negotiate with Albemarle, because the price, what we already know, that the price has a lot of variance even during the days. So mainly this is to skip a little bit, all this variance, and we're using this average of the last 6 months. Having said that, it's very important that we already said is, if you agreed between Albemarle and the specialized producer a price mechanism which fits this idea of stabilized a little bit the price in the long run, it's up to you. This is very important. So we gave the alternative that the price could be negotiated between Albemarle and the specialized producer under a different rule.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We have one last question to the chat for now, which is asking about specifically foreign companies. If they don't currently have a subsidiary in Chile, you mentioned that there was a time limit of 6 months to establish the subsidiary in Chile. So what happens if this time is not, if this deadline is not met? Is the preferential producer taken away? Or
yes, exactly that. I mean, just to give you an idea, we evaluate the projects and the applicants, and for example, some of them are not ready in Chile. So, and they became, for example, specialized producer. We gave them 6 months, up to 6 months, to create this unit, legal unit in Chile. And then, if it's not fit, then the specialized status is taken away, and then we allocate this to the second best in the call. Having said that, it's important to know that the only thing that you have to go is to create this legal status firm in Chile, which under Chilean procedure is very fast. So this is not going to be a time restriction itself.
Okay, and we actually have one more question while we were answering the last one. So you talked during the presentation about the quantity of raw material that is granted per year. One person wants to know how this is calculated exactly, and if it is fixed after the contract is signed, or is it subject to change?
It's a very good point. The contract says it's a 25% of the current production of Albemarle, starting with a 15%, increasing 5% per year until you reach 25% after the 5th year. From the 5th years onwards will be the 25%. This is so the numbers are calculating in terms of tons now as the current production of Albemarle.
Perfect, thank you. We don't have any more questions currently being asked in the chat. So if there is any final remarks that you would like to give in the presentation, Mr. Benavente, or if not, then we can hand the word to Ms. Elke.
No, we are very keen to receive several, calls and participants to this call. We think it's a very interesting opportunity to make linkages with other, countries, as Mr. Elke was saying. We think that what we have behind is to make virtuous agreements with other firms worldwide, especially from like-minded countries, in an area which is very strategic as lithium, as we already know. Chile will become a very important, despite the fact we are far away from the large markets, but we can become a very important, demand of some of the products that are related with this chain, because I already say with development on the other side, the green hydrogen and the production from green sources of energy, and the demand for example, to energy storage will be very, very important in the future. It's already going in Chile. So we think that this fits very importantly in terms of the demand will be also in Chile, and then you can avoid some of the transportation costs if some of these pieces and parts are produced here in Chile. So we think this could be a very attractive alternative for those who are involved in the lithium chain at some point, to create or through individually or collectively through some partnerships with the local firms, some a supply of more sophisticated products in the lithium chain. Also, there's another subproducts of lithium that they use this carbonate that can be used, for example, the agro industry, where Chile, despite the fact is not that large, the agro industry as a fertilizer, for example, is very important, not only in Chile, but also in neighbor countries. And the third, which is very important, have to be very, probably at some point, we are only countries we refine lithium, but it's also our neighbor country, especially Argentina, who's now start producing lithium. They're gonna not refine lithium. The largest salt flats of Argentina are very close to the Chilean border, and probably the expectation that the lithium that is taken from Argentina will be through Chilean ports that can reach, some of the largest demand markets, because, the transportation costs through the Atlantic will be much expensive. So it's important to have in mind that not only that this investment can have access to this amount of lithium that is insured if you become a specialized producer, but also you can aim to have, some supply of lithium coming from our neighbor country that will for sure we use the Chilean land to go through the lithium if they want to go, and you can add value in Chile, and then you can export more sophisticated, products to other markets in the world.
Thank you, Mr. Benavente. Michelle, Paul, if you would like to give any closing remarks, please go ahead.
Thank you for the insightful presentation, the question, and the given information. I think our common goal is to deepen the partnership with this project, and that's why I'm looking forward to deepening our partnership and moving forward and taking action. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both, and thank you all for joining us today, as well as for the questions and comments. As the Vice President mentioned, Corfo is committed to developing the value-added lithium industry in Chile, which is crucial for fostering a clean energy transition and reaching carbon neutrality goals. We hope that through actions such as the seminar that we heard today, we can continue to foster collaboration between both countries and move towards our shared goals of a cleaner, more sustainable, productive development. So if you would like further information, please visit the webpage Chileanlithium.com, where you will be able to download all the call guidelines, as well as send your inquiries and applications. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Benavente. Thank you, Mrs. Paul, and have a very nice day.
Thank you very much indeed, and thank you to everyone. Cheers.